I want to talk about this real quick. Is it kind of fascinating, like since AEW's come on TV, is that how they've changed the narrative and everything on television ratings? Like all of a sudden now the demo is like the most important thing, and like they report the demo. The demo's like this, and I'm like, what's like like you talked about this, like with market share and everything, bro. It's like you're kind of like ignoring the product that professional wrestling has been for years. It's like it's on 52 weeks a year, right? And we're trying to draw as many fans as possible to drive your live show revenue, to drive your pay-per-view audience, to drive your thing. And it's like right now they're just focused on the demo. And it's like, dude, it's like really, it's like half the median age of the fan these days, I think, is 52 years old. So like literally half of your wrestling audience is over 50 years old these days, the televised viewers. And it's like, you know
why that's weird to me, Eric? Because there's no characters that are 50 years old on the show. That's kind of weird to me, but go ahead.
But we're all over 50. We're talking about it right now.
But we have to watch the show because we get paid to watch it. I probably wouldn't.
To answer your question, Disco, I think what's happened, I mean, a couple of things happened. Legitimately, there was a time even, back when I was running WCW when Nielsen reported ratings and shares.
Right.
Remember that because I don't know if you guys were into ratings that much at that time, but ratings and shares was the kind of qualifier, if you will. And then that changed probably around 2012 or so, 13, where even Nielsen and television studios quit reporting ratings and in terms of rating and share and started talking about households. Or excuse me, viewers, total viewers.
Right.
And then they would break the total viewers down. Look, the fact is the 18 to 49-year-old demo is the most important demo in the television advertising business. Of all the different demos, there's teens, there's preteens. All of it is important, by the way. And 49 and up, not as important as 18 to 49 from an advertising point of view. Right? Because advertisers believe that once you're in your 50s, your decisions about what you like and what you don't like and what you buy and what you won't buy, you've already made up your mind, so they can't really influence you much. But your 18 to 49-year-olds, they're very influential and they have discretionary income. So that's where a lot of advertising is pushed. So it's not wrong to talk about demos. What I find frustrating is when that's all they talk about, because demos appear on a statistical basis or on a data point basis appear to be a little closer aligned between AEW and WWE. So the people that are reporting, like Brandon Thurston, for example, he turns himself into a data donut every week when he tries to spin the data and spin the information so that it makes AEW look as favorable as possible. Here's how I look at it, and I look at things very simply. Right now, let's look at Monday night. Monday Night WWE had 1.7 million viewers, and that was against Monday Night Football and the Emmys. Against
the Emmys was on too. I didn't know
Monday Night Football,
right? Which was a good game,
and it was a good game. But it's the first night of Monday Night Football, and it's there against the Emmys, and they still did 40% more viewers than AEW did coming off of a pay-per-view.
Right.
Off of a controversial thing too.
That's the real comparison to me. Now, it doesn't mean that the 18 to 49 isn't important. It certainly is. And it drives network buying decisions. It affects their programming decisions. And the fact is that AEW has a solid 18 to 49 demo compared to the rest of the TBS network. But you can't compare AEW to WWE in any meaningful way and have any credibility at all.
Right.
You just can't.
I want to bring this up because it's funny too. We talk about like how it's just so narrative driven, where AEW is peeling data points out to try to make themselves look good. I used to do this when I was on the writing team. We used to get nobody, like, it was fascinating to me how when we would all get them, we got the minute by minute ratings, but none of the dirt sheets, like, they would always do quarters. And I was getting the minute by minutes. This was the most telling statistic, okay, because I used to love numbers and analyzing the minute by minutes and matching them against like this and Monday Night Football. This is the most tried and true formula, right? When the Monday Night Football game is good and it's compelling, the wrestling audience is going to suffer because that demographic, the 84 is going to be tuned into Monday Night Football. It's a good game. When the Monday Night Football game is a blowout, the wrestling audience does not suffer that much because when the game is a blowout and they're turning off they're turning that game off, they're gravitating towards the other top genre of the 18 to 49 market on TV at that time. And it's nobody's caught up with this. Like like everybody else, I keep trying to repeat this thing. You know, measure this on Monday night. If the game's good, WWE will probably do a rating. If it's not good, they might not suffer that much, right? But the thing that I think is fascinating is that, like, you know, when you talk about like just pulling that data point out, the 18 to 49, just a demo, bro, it makes you ignore. This is crazy to me. Like, professional wrestling was always the number one thing on cable, like viewer wise and stuff. We were just number one, and everything, right? Now the news, obviously, when Trump came along, and all of a sudden the news became big and everything, and so it surpassed wrestling in total viewership. You can't do anything about that, right? But I'm finding it fascinating on Wednesday night. Bro, there's a show, nobody talks about this. Maybe they do the demo because you don't have to bring this up. In total viewership from 9 to 10, there's a show called Dr. Pill Poppers on the A&E network or History Channel or something.
Disgusting show. I can't stand it.
It does
I watched it one time.
It does 1.9 million viewers.
It's a freak show. That's why people like freak shows.
Right. And the funniest thing is like Dave will report, well, tennis was on this week, and that's why the number was good. Hockey was on, that's why the number was good. I'm like, dude, Dr. Pill Poppers is what your focus should be on. You need to like target yourself toward that audience. You're not even bringing it up. That's your competition.
And again, I think with Meltzer especially, and Brandon Thurston, and there's a what's the word for that? They're surrogates, right? They're media surrogates. Perfect word. And look, nothing wrong with that. Not being critical of it, but you just have to recognize it for what it is.
Right.
You know, there's so much emphasis on trying to position AEW as a sport, because I think the collective thinking is that, well, if, you know, look at sports rights fees and how much sports rights fees are going up. Therefore, if sports rights fees are going up and AEW is live sports, then AEW's fees should go up. Wrestling is not sports, folks. Here's another thing I noticed in last week's show, and I didn't notice it until I rewatched the show again. I actually watched the show twice because I was making notes.
Right.
I noticed last night, now maybe it's happened before and I never noticed it because I didn't watch the show as closely as I did, but all of a sudden now Tony is referring to AEW as a combat sport. He said something to the effect of, this title is the most impressive title in all of combat sports.
Right.
You are not a combat sport. You're professional wrestling. You're almost doing what Vince McMahon did when he didn't want to call himself professional wrestling and called himself sports entertainment. Now Tony Khan doesn't want to call himself professional wrestling. He's calling himself combat sports. Put anybody in your roster in an octagon with somebody that actually trains in combat sports, and let's shoot that and see how that goes.
Right.
It's not a combat sport. It's professional wrestling. It's episodic drama, character-driven television. Don't try to pretend it's a sport. Don't compare it to sports. Don't hold yourself up against sports because you lose credibility in the process.
Have you noticed that WWE's been doing? You know, we picked up on this many months ago, but they've been doing some pretty decent episodic storytelling on.
They've gone back to it.
They've gone back to it. And it's like, you know, they always have. There's a thread throughout, like especially the bloodline thread that's been going on for years, and the way they stagger it throughout the show and stuff, like it's the main thread, but they've got a couple other, you know, there's threads throughout the show. And it's like, you would think that AEW would watch the way they're formatting and telling these episodic, you know, soap opera style storytelling, that they would copy it, but because it's working on the other channel, the numbers are going up a little bit, you know, they trended up and everything. And I think, I want to ask you this too. Do you think that when Vince retired, and all of a sudden, like, you know, WWE got a 20% boost, like 15 to 20% boost in the numbers, like right off the bat, right? That there literally was that many people, like lapsed fans that would probably watch if the product was good. Maybe they listen to a lot of our fans listen to the podcast. They don't watch the shows. I mean, I imagine a lot of your audience is like that too, you know, and like, if you tell them, like we've had people write into our show and say, you know, when you say the show's good, I'll watch it, you know, and everything like we talk about. That the fact that like maybe people were so upset with the WWE product for so many years, they knew it was Vince's product and Vince is running it, that when he was gone, it's like, wow, he's gone. Like, hey, I'm going to give it a shot now. Do you think why do you think the numbers when trended up when Vince left?
I mean, I think there was a lot of interest. Look, when Vince, you know, ran into the challenge that he has currently. There's a lot of controversy. It was on Fox News. It was in the Wall Street Journal. I mean, the world kind of knew about it. So I think there were a lot of wrestling fans that said, I'm going to tune in to see what happens now.
Right.
And they tuned in to see what happens now, and they were impressed. So they stuck around.
Right.
It's really that simple.
It is, right? Yeah. Well, what storylines you like? Have you been interested on the WWE? What's some of the stuff you like on that show?
I really don't watch it regularly enough.
She's clips and stuff, right?
Look, I'm a big fan of Kevin Owens. I just am. I got to know him a little bit when I worked there for a cup of coffee a couple of years ago, and I really, really like him. Not just I like him as a person, but I really like him as a talent. He's very relatable, and he's smart, and he can cut a hell of a promo, and he's got range. He's getting in good shape too. He's getting better shape. You notice? I mean, he's a special cat.
I'm glad he got in shape because for a while there, he was looking like the designated driver for the bowling team. But I will say this: the guy cuts incredible promos, takes hellacious bumps, is massively entertaining. Him and Sami Zayn, I'm really big fans of.